All right, folks, it is now time to give our bookmark some eyes, and we are going to do that with the cylinder shape. I'm going to grab a cylinder, drag it out onto our canvas, and the first thing I want you to notice is that if you zoom in, it does not look like so much of a circle. It's got some pretty flat sides that are making it up, and that is because right up here in the details area, the sides are set for 20. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drag that all the way over to the right, change the sides to 64, smooth out that cylinder for us. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to size this. I personally don't want my eyes to be perfectly round like this. I want them to be more of an oval. So I'm going to grab this handle right here. I'm going to squish it down. I'm going to grab this handle here, squish it down, until I've got sort of a shape for an eye that I like. And it's sort of difficult to see what the shape actually is because it's trying to give us sort of a three-dimensional representation on a two-dimensional screen. So right over here in our toolbar on the left, the bottom button allows us to switch between perspective view, which is what we have where it's trying to make it three-dimensional, and flat view. And if we change to flat view, it's a lot easier to see sometimes what the shape actually looks like and how things are lining up. So I'm going to leave it here in flat view while we look at this, and I'm going to drag that into place. It's not so bad. Kind of like it. Except I want to rotate it just a little bit. Do I want it to look like this? Ooh, if I turn it this way, the kind of looks a little evil. If I turn it this way, it kind of looks a little derpy. So I'm going to go more along the evil. The more I tilt it, the more evil it gets. I don't want it to be too evil. All right, so that's pretty good. And I want to kind of place it underneath the eyebrow so that I sort of like the spacing. Very good, kind of like that. Then I'm going to make sure it's selected, click the duplicate button, arrow over a bit, just like we did with the eyebrows. Now, you know, that doesn't look too bad. We could go with that, but I'm going to want to use my mirror tool, flip it around again to make sure that they are opposite each other. This, I don't think, I kind of want them to be more spaced apart. Don't worry right now about where they are in relationship to the eyebrows. Right now, just look at the eyes themselves and see, do you like the spacing of them? Do you like the way they look? Do you like the shape? And if you do, once you get it to the point that you like it, we are going to once again hit the shift button. We are going to select both of our ovals and we are going to group those together so now we can move them all together. Then we are going to draw a box around everything, use our alignment tool. Well, I'm going to have to scroll out to see everything, and I'm going to hit that middle button to make sure my eyes are right in the center of my bookmark. Once again, I want to flip it over, make sure I can see the eyes from the bottom, because we are going to turn those into holes, select everything, and group it all together. That's going to nicely cut out the holes for our eyes. Finally, we need to add the pupils for the eyes, and we're going to do that with this shape right down here called the tube. So I'm going to grab a tube onto our canvas here. Clearly, that is way too large. I am going to, first thing I'm going to do is change my sides all the way to 64. Once again, smooth that out. I'm going to start with a radius. Right now it's got a radius of 10. I'm going to change that to 4, which is going to shrink it down quite a bit. And I am going to change my wall thickness to 2. All right. Now, oh, and don't forget, we also need to make sure that our height, which is right here underneath the arrow, our height is set to 2 because that is the height of our bookmark. So I'm going to drag this pupil into place. What do I think? It's not too bad, but it's maybe still a little bit large. Right now our radius is set to 4. Let's try a radius of 3. That, I think the size might look better, but the wall thickness is way too much. So I'm going to change my wall thickness to 1, thin that out a little bit, and then I'm going to just select that and drag it into place. Now remember, there needs to be a little bit of overlap between your pupil and the bookmark itself so that it fuses together and becomes part of the whole bookmark. You can't just leave it hanging out in space or it'll fall right out as soon as we pull it off of the 3D printer platform. Since we've got the size of that one all right, I am going to go ahead and duplicate it. And you have a couple of options here. You can just sort of slide it over and try to line it up exactly like the other one so that it's symmetrical. You can move it to a different place on your bookmark so that your character looks a little goofier. I kind of like that actually. I'm going to make this one sort of goofy in terms of where the pupils are. All right. Then I'm going to select everything. I'm going to group it together, and those pupils become part of our bookmark. Fantastic work, everyone.